guys, it's Nina again and welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, hello. So for today's video, I'm going to be putting on my makeup with products that I've loved for longer than a year. So these are products that are holy grails or have been holy grails and that I've replaced or that I haven't replaced. So I actually got this idea from a girl that I watch on YouTube called Nicole Renee. She actually done like a talking video. She spoke about products that she's loved for longer than a year. However, I thought I would actually put it on my face. So yeah guys, I really hope you enjoyed today's video and let's get started. So I'm actually going to start off with my eyes, and for primer I'm going to use the Tarte Shape Tape in Light. I've actually loved this for longer than a year, I believe, because I've had this for a while. This is actually like my second tube of it. But I just absolutely love this concealer. It works really, really well on me and it's never like failed me. However, I have found a concealer that I like just as much and it's cheaper. So I have kind of replaced it, but I still love it. Now for shadow, I'm going to actually use the Francation palette by Dose of Colours and Desi and Katie. I've had this palette since November of 2018, so it's just turned a year. I love this palette. I still love this palette. I still use it. It's really the best palette that I have in my collection, that I like the most, that I use the most. To me, this is the best palette that an influencer has ever made that I've tried personally. Like whether it's their own brand or collaboration, this palette, the formula, is unlike any other formula that I've had. I use it all the time and I just honestly love the formula in here. So my palette is kind of broken, so I'm not going to be able to actually like hold it up and show you what colours I'm using. But I'm probably going to go into this one, these mattes, and I don't know what shimmer I'm going to use. So I'm going to go in with the colour Necessary in my crease, which is just like a really nice basic transition shade for my skin tone. So yeah, this palette is just one of my favourite palettes. I kind of want to get another one just so I can actually travel with it, just because this one I can't travel with it because it is like shattered and I love it so much that I kind of just want to have a backup, so I always have this palette. To me, this is such a well thought out palette and just well rounded, because you can go really basic or really grungy and smoky or really just like sultry and sexy. You can just do a lot of looks with this palette, and honestly the mattes in here are so good. They're so pigmented. They blend out so well. This is the only palette that I have from Dose of Colours and I am obsessed with it, honestly. I still am obsessed with it after a year. So now I'm taking the colours Girl Bye and Cheens mixed together and I'm just going to put this all over my lid. I think I'm going to do a matte smoky eye. Okay, so now for primer, I'm going to use the MUA Wonder Vanishing Cream Primer. So I've actually only had this for like 9-10 months. However, I wanted to include it just because all the other primers that I was like really enjoying last year, I've kind of run out and I don't have them anymore. And like other primers that I've had, I've loved for longer than a year. So I thought I would talk about this one. This one is such a good primer for your pores. Like this is so underrated. I've literally heard no one talk about this primer and it's such a good pore filling primer. It doesn't move around your foundation, it doesn't ball up. It's so good and so affordable as well. And yeah, like I was saying, I've only had this for 9 months, but for me to absolutely love this primer and use it all the time in those 9 months says a lot. So for foundation, I've got 2 foundations here. So this is the Maybelline Superstay foundation. I've got the colour 10 Ivory, and then this is the LA Girl Pro Coverage HD foundation in Fair. I've had this foundation since May of 2018 and it is still my favourite foundation. For oily skin, this is unbeatable. This does not move. This is such a long lasting foundation, and this is a foundation that I wore a lot in the summer, and now as we're getting into winter I can kind of risk using more dewy foundations, but this is honestly one of my favorite foundations, and I know when I run out of this I will go and buy another one. So now the LA Girl, I've loved this for a lot longer than a year. I believe the first one I ever bought was in 2017 or 16 and I've loved it since. And it's just such a beautiful foundation. This one also lasts pretty well on my skin, and the colour Fair is like dead on my skin tone. These 2 foundations are pretty much the best matches I've ever had for my skin tone. So I'm actually going to use the LA Girl one just because the Maybelline one has had a lot of love on my channel, especially in like recent months because of summer and stuff. This one hasn't as much, but I did use it I believe in my last video and I love it. I do truly love this foundation. So I'm going to go in with this one. I don't actually use a lot of this foundation just because the coverage is pretty good, so you don't need a lot. I just used literally a pump for that part of my face, and now I'm using the tiniest bit for my forehead. I don't use a lot on my forehead just because I don't need a lot of coverage. I just need to get the tone the same as the rest of my face. If you haven't tried this foundation, I would highly recommend it. I feel like this foundation would work for people who have dry skin, who have oily skin. Obviously, if you have oily skin, you will have to set it like I do, but it's just a beautiful foundation, honestly, it really is. Okay, so that's a really thin layer of foundation, like literally a pump and a tiny bit more. And my face doesn't feel like I've got foundation on. It doesn't feel tight. It doesn't feel dry. It doesn't feel heavy. It doesn't look heavy. It literally just looks like my skin, but with just better coverage and stuff. So for concealer, I'm going to go in with my Tarte Shape Tape. Now I'm going to just cream contour using my Rimmel Cream Contour Stick. So I've had this for longer than a year, and this is still my first one. Obviously, I'm running low on it. I have bought a backup one, and this is such a beautiful cream contour. Honestly, it's a beautiful color. It blends out so easy. It's just a really good contour. Now let me blend out my concealer before it dries too much. Now for powder, I'm just going to use my Laura Mercier translucent setting powder. I've loved this for longer than a year and I still love it. It's such a good setting powder, honestly. The best one I've tried, if I'm honest, and it never stares me wrong. I don't know how long I've had this powder, but this is the second one that I've ever had to repurchase. Now for bronzer, I'm going to use my Butter Bronzer by Physicians Formula. I've had this for longer than a year and I absolutely still love it. It's such a good bronzer. You've heard me talk about it a lot on my channel. I've actually already gone through one of these. It was shattered, so I didn't actually end up using all of the product just because it was broken. The one I'm using now is also shattered, but I have got like another one as a backup, just so when I know I'm gonna run out of this, I have one. It's funny because I used to have to buy my butter bronzer off Amazon, and now you can buy Physicians Formula in Boots. So it's much more easy for us Brits to get it. So for blusher and highlight, I'm going to use my Hourglass Unlocked palette. I've had this since last Christmas, so almost a year, and I have loved this palette. I still use it all the time. It's such a good palette, honestly. So I'm going to add just a little bit of the bronzer from this palette here. It's honestly such a good palette, and I wish they would bring this back as a permanent, just because it is like limited edition, or it was limited edition, so I don't even think you can buy it anymore. So I'm just going to go in with the blushes and the highlights from this palette. So yeah, I've had this for about a year and I still use it as much as I used to. It's just such a good palette, honestly. Look at that highlight. And it doesn't even look like blinding highlight. It looks like blinding highlight, but it's so soft and just honestly amazing. I feel like highlight's kind of going away. I hope it never goes away on the nose, because I love this and the Cupid's bow, but on the face and on the cheeks, I'm over it. I have too much texture for that. So for setting spray, I'm going to go in with the Makeup Revolution Hyaluronic Fix Setting Spray. I've had this for about a year. This isn't my first one. This is either my second or third one. And this is such a good setting spray. I wouldn't say that this makes your makeup last longer, but it gives your skin such a skin-like dew to it. And it just makes all your like powders just settle in and look more like skin. It's honestly such a good setting spray, and it's like £8 if I'm not mistaken. This reminds me a lot of the Max Fix Plus, but I just prefer it and it's a lot cheaper. So for brows, I've actually gone through my brows a little bit just to save time, but I used a PS Skinny Brow Pencil. So now I'm going to go in with my L'Oreal Brow Artist Plumper. This I know for a fact I've had longer than a year and I still absolutely love it. It is a great brow mascara. It doesn't keep your brows in place as much as like the Benefit one does that I recently tried and have been loving, but it does give your brows colour and like makes your brows look more realistic, because it does coat every brow hair. I don't think I would ever buy like another coloured brown mascara, just because this is drugstore, it's cheap, it does the job, and I really like the finish that it gives my brows. So for my eyes, I'm just going to go off camera and do them just to save time, but I'm literally going to add the same colours that I added up here to my lower lash line, smoke it out. I kind of want a grungy look. And for mascara, I'm going to use the Maybelline Lash Sensational Mascara. I've had this for longer than a year. It's my go-to ride or die mascara. I don't think I'll ever go and buy a high-end mascara, just because this makes my lashes look insanely good, and it does not flake, it doesn't budge. If you have a problem with mascara flaking or budging, try this. It makes your eyelashes look insanely fluffy and just like thick. I wouldn't say this is very like lengthening, but volumizing definitely, and it just makes your lashes look like really wispy and full. So I'm gonna go off camera, do the rest of my eyes, put this on, and then I'll come back and do my lips with you. Okay, so I'm back. So as you can see, I've done my lower lash line and I also did my mascara. So now for lips, I'm gonna go in with my NYX lip liner in Nude Suede Shoes. Can't say that name for the life of me. I've had this lip liner, and to be honest, I love all NYX lip liners. Like literally in my little pot, I have so many of them, and I just use the colours that I want for that time or for that look. But I absolutely love the NYX lip liners. I know I've loved these for over a year, so I definitely knew that I had to include it. So now for lip products. Lip products were a little bit hard, just because like I can't remember how long I've had them, and like I don't know if I've loved them all for a year or not, but I know that I've been loving, and I've loved for a while, I don't know how long, but probably a year if I'm honest, is the MAC Honey Love lipstick. I've had it long enough to make that much of a dent of it. Honestly, that's been like my go-to lipstick for a while, and I just keep coming back to it because I love it. So for lip gloss, I'm just going to go in with this one. I don't know if I've had it for about a year. I believe I have, and I love this lip gloss. I've almost ran out of it basically. This is the Essence Shine 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 lip gloss. It's such a beautiful formula of lip gloss, and I've loved this for however long I've had it. And there were other lip glosses that I could include, but the other lip glosses that I was thinking of including, I've had for longer than a year, and I've loved for longer than a year, and I'm trying to keep everything as much as I can to just last year's products. So this is the final look, guys. This is the look that I created using products that I'm still loving from last year. All of these products I still love, I still use, I still recommend. They're still holy grails in my opinion. They're still products that I go to, they're products that I run back to. Whether or not I find a new lipstick that I like, I will always come back to Honey Love or the Hourglass palette or the Dose of Colours palette. These are products that I still always kind of come back to. So yeah guys, I really hope you enjoyed today's video. Please make sure you give me a thumbs up, and I will see you next time. Bye guys.